Okay, so this video may end up being a bit rambly, but I'll try to edit the parts out where I freeze up a bit and where I have to collect my thoughts. So yesterday I was playing against some guy online, some nightmare player, and I played about, I think, 4 games against him. He was beating me with something that I thought I knew the answer to. I didn't, or I should say the answer I had in my head was not working. Then I went into training mode and then I discovered what was up. It's not important that I go into details right now, but basically, I had labbed this situation sometime in the past. I had come up with a solution, and it turned out that solution had a weakness. So this was frustrating the hell out of me. I went into the lab, figured out what I needed to change, then I started queuing for ranked again, and then I ran into him again, and then he started beating me with other stuff that I didn't know the answer to. And at that point, I checked out after I think 5 games or so. I just turned off the game, started looking up things on YouTube because I was kind of done playing for the night. And that's when I came across a video on something called the Pareto principle. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. The guy was apparently Italian who came up with it. And the idea is that 80% of your results come from 20% of the effort you put in. And I think if we translate that into fighting game or just any game terms, or really any skill you're trying to learn, if we translate that, I think that is why we hit plateaus and why it can be it's hard to find the motivation to overcome them, and I think that's definitely where I am. So essentially, right, when you first learn a game or a character, new stuff that you learn comes very quickly. Like, you're quickly learning the combos, what your good pokes are, what are your meaties. It's all universally applicable, right? I learned this thing and I can use it in this matchup and any matchup. Then as you progress, you sort of hit like a roadblock. I think that's kind of where I am with Geralt. There is almost nothing left for me to learn on this character. I feel that way, maybe I'm wrong. What I need to work on now is matchup knowledge, and I think that is where a lot of players in general, not just in Soul Calibur, but like in Tekken, Street Fighter, I think that is where they struggle. And I think it's hard to overcome that plateau because you've grown accustomed to this speed and this efficiency at which you learn things. And as you improve, that efficiency of learning things tapers down to almost a standstill. Specifically now, if I want to overcome the roadblock that I faced yesterday, I need to lab the few specific moves that Nightmare was using against me. 3D games have big move lists. And so the end result that I walk away with, if I do that, is I become better when I run into Nightmare, which is like 1 in 30 characters, more or less. I think there's about 30 characters right now in Soul Calibur 6. So that's like 3% of my games. Then those Nightmare players have to use those strings, and then I still have to be cognizant enough and alert enough to still, use the knowledge that I spend all this time learning. So I'm spending time, arguably more time than I did learning combos, trying to figure out how to beat these strings, and it is a very marginal, very tiny gain that you're getting. And I think that is why a lot of players stop there or struggle to progress from that point. That's one of the reasons I think why pro players are pro players. I mean, other than talent, obviously, but it's a drive to push beyond that. It's the drive to push through that. So what do I think are some solutions? I don't know, but I think if you keep this idea in the back of your mind that the reason you're not motivated enough is because the efficiency at which you learn things degrades, I think you can use that to your advantage. Like, if I were to pick up an entirely different character, it's not going to be the same because I've learned things on Geralt that will transfer, but it is going to up my efficiency again, and as such, I will be more motivated to learn, I think. And as a side effect, I should at the very least pick up matchup knowledge. So I think that's my advice. Like, I think a lot of us who are in this place where I am right now, we take things too seriously. Like, I think we focus too hard on, I want to get good at Geralt, I want to be, one of the Geralt players. I'm totally not there, by the way, just so that's clear. But I think a lot of us like focus on that. We identify ourselves with a specific game with a specific character, and let's be honest, I think most of us are not even material for Evo Top 64. You know what I mean? So I think the lesson that I walk away with tonight, you know, having these shower thoughts at 7 a.m. in the morning, is that I think it's best if people who are in the same spot that I am in, if we just take things less seriously, if we learn more games, if we from time to time switch to a different character. This has been my very ambiguous and rambly advice. Try to keep your efficiency up, because when you've learned a character to a certain extent, if you're progressing, and to be fair, you probably are, the progress is so tiny that it does not motivate you. You know what I mean? Like you feel like you're not progressing, even though maybe you are, but it's on such a tiny scale compared to what you did previously that you just check out and you say, I'm at this roadblock and I cannot scale it. So yeah, I hope this is food for thought. I've gone on long enough.